Good evening. The doctor is in. Hey,
Hey,
Dr. Mo.
good evening, everybody. Welcome to the HBCU edition of The Doctor is In.
We
Uh,
are here. I'm
we
so
are.
excited. I am so excited, Dr. Mo, about this show. We are going to have such a great time tonight. We have five amazing interns, five amazing students. Actually, one of them is not here tonight because she's taking her chemistry exam, but we do have a video of her. But we've had the best time with these brainiac children I call them children. I shouldn't say that because I'm an old lady. But these wonderful, wonderful young adults for the past month and a half. And they have just been brought joy to our lives and information, and it's been just quite a ride with them. And they're going to share some really great stuff for us. Really great stuff.
It's been incredible, and it's so nice to have this young energy and this young talent and people who bring the fresh perspective to us, but also help us to reach a different demographic. So when we think of breast cancer, many times people think postmenopause or older people, and we have really tried to shed a light on breast cancer in young folks, on not just cancer but breast health and breast awareness. And so it's been great watching you guys especially bring that information to college campuses and representing our HBCUs, because we get a lot of flack. I graduated from Florida A&M University. I see my fellow Rattler on there. Hey, I got my orange shirt. It looks red. I got my Rattler mug. And HBCUs get a bad rap, but here's the statistics, Ricky. I don't know if you knew this. So HBCUs, which stand for historically Black colleges and universities, account for maybe 3% of four-year nonprofit colleges, but their alumni, us, we, me, account for roughly 80% of Black judges in this country, 50% of Black lawyers and doctors, 25% of our graduates who earn degrees in science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So we certainly have a place.
Wow.
A role. Our vice president-elect is representing a historically Black college and university, as well as a Black sorority. Shout out to my soror. But we wanted to make sure that we highlight breast health and education among not just our adults of color, not just Black women of a certain age, but Black women of all ages, Black men, young people, every age, every demographic. So the HBCU interns are in the house, and I'm gonna stop talking and let you guys introduce yourselves.
Yeah, we also have Ari. So let's start with Ari. Ari is our champion breastie. I call her our baby breastie, but Ari's joining in because she's really worked with the interns over the couple of times and sort of been a good example for what they've been dealing with and what they've been learning about. So Ari, you want to say hi?
Hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be on here tonight. It was also a pleasure to be a part of this HBCU internship and spread my light onto the students. I hope it gives them an insight that cancer doesn't discriminate and that they continue to inform our young Black adults about the risks of getting cancer.
Great. Tayer, where are you from?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tyler Burrows. I am from New Jersey, and I attend the illustrious Bowie State University, majoring in nursing.
Carrington.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Carrington Freeman, and I am sophomore at Florida A&M University, and I am from Miami, Florida.
Great. Who's next? Simone.
Everyone, my name is Simone Tazo, and I'm a sophomore pre-nursing student at North Carolina A&T.
All right. And Lyric.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lyric Burnett. I am a sophomore legal communications minor at Howard University.
All right, Howard. Howard's in the house. Woo! I have my pearl. I didn't go to an HBC, but I have my pearls on.
I love it.
So trying to represent a little bit. So I think what we should do is like everybody to kind of talk about what you learned. And, basically we challenge these amazing young people to go onto their social media where they have broad reach and talk to their peers on their campuses and try to bring up the facts about breast cancer and talk about breast health. And they have done some amazing things. So I'm going to let them all talk, and we'll start with Tayer and kind of go around, let everybody kind of give your spiel about what you learned, what you took away, and what you learned from this, what you got from this experience.
And Ricky, can I get their why? I want to know your why, because that's really important. And that's a question we're going to ask you over and over again. And in life, we always have to know the whys of things and what's your motivation for it, because I think that that will help a lot of young people who might be watching as well.
Right. So go, Tair.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Once again, my name is Tair, and I want to thank Ricky for even giving me the opportunity to participate in this internship. I really enjoyed it, and I feel like it did help to bring a lot of light to breast cancer awareness and how important it is. And I feel like I've reached a good enough, large audience and gave facts about it and things like that. So some of the things that I've learned during this internship is facts like 21% of Black women with breast cancer don't survive 5 years past their diagnosis. This fact is one that I took really personally because I have a grandmother who is a breast cancer survivor as well. And to know that a lot of Black women don't make it past 5 years and she did, is like, it kind of makes me happy to know that. Also, breast cancer kills Black women 42% higher than white women. So to know that our women of color are being killed more than white women by this devastating killer is good information to know too. Some of the things that I did during this internship in my community, I participated in a wellness event at my housing building. So we got a doctor. Her name is Dr. Wuto. I forgot how to pronounce it. She was able to come to our residence home, and we had a big meeting, and she spread light on breast cancer. She bought models, breast models, and she was showing how self breast exams should be done and things like that. So I really felt like that brought a light to breast cancer. And I think that a lot of people at my HBCU, the women of color, took it very seriously. And I think they are going to start doing their self breast exams. One other thing that I've also done is in my hallway on the first and second floor, I collaborated with my RAs and we made breast cancer for the month of October. We made breast cancer bulletin boards. So on my bulletin board, I use facts from Touch BBCA. I use facts from there and I put it on there, and I put a little section for everybody to write their fighter and anybody that they know that's battling them. So those are most of the things that I've learned during my internship, and I'm so grateful and thankful that I got this opportunity.
How about male breast cancer?
Male breast cancer. That's one thing that I forgot to mention too. I didn't know until I started this internship that male could get breast cancer too. It's not just for women. So at my event, there was also males there too, and they were surprised to know that they could get it too.
Great. So did you find too, Taylor, that young women were talking about breast cancer? Do you think you helped them learn from you, because were they doing self-exams before?
On my poll, on my Instagram survey, 62% of women didn't know that they should be doing these self-breast exams no matter their age. When I spoke to them at my event here, a lot of them didn't know that they had to start so young. They had to do it at this age. They thought like when they hit their 40s, that's when they can start going to get mammograms done and things like that. They didn't know. So I feel like by doing this internship, I was able to get that information out there that they should still be performing them now. They should feel their breasts regularly to know they're normal, like how they feel regularly, so that way they can detect when something is odd. And the reason, and I forgot to say why, like Dr. Mo said, the reason why I chose this internship is because, again, my grandma had breast cancer and she survived. So if I can get the word out there and help other women I could help other women, possibly women and men, if I could help them prevent from getting breast cancer, that would make me happy. That's the reason I took this internship, because I know a lot of people and I also have a good social media rep. So, and people are very interactive. So getting that information out there was a good thing.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Simone, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go. So the reason I wanted to do this internship is because I'm a pre-nursing major. So I thought this would be a really good learning opportunity. And I know that in the future, I want to do some kind of work helping women. So I thought this would be a good experience to just learn about breast cancer, especially because I don't have a history of breast cancer in my family. So I didn't know very much until I saw all of the Touch posts and everything and listening to everyone speak. So what I learned before this internship, I really didn't know very much about breast cancer or about Black breast cancer in particular. And I didn't know that it's affecting Black women at much higher rates than white women. I learned that 70% of Black women are more likely to reach stage 4 breast cancer than white women. And I also made polls on my Instagram stories about these facts, and the majority of people responded that they were not aware of this. And then after speaking to Ari and hearing her story, before that, I didn't know that you could get diagnosed at such a young age. And so that really was eye-opening to me. And then I had made some posts on my Instagram about early detection and just giving information about how important it is to do the self-exams and everything at a young age. And the majority of my followers also didn't know how important it is to start early. So yeah, that was just a really good experience overall. So thank you.
So awesome. So awesome. Thank you so much. So much. You know what? I forgot to ask you guys to include, how many Instagram followers do you have?
You want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead, Tyre, and then Simone can
I
go.
have 5,042 followers on Instagram.
All right. And Simone?
I have around 1,800.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, Carrington, want to go? How many Instagram followers do you have, babe?
I have around 2,000-ish.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your story, girl?
Okay, so it being a whole social media kind of internship, that kind of really got me interested, because like a lot of kids our days, what we do is really on social media, and especially during the whole COVID phase, it was something to do. And so when I was recommended it, and I'm going to start with my reason why. When I was recommended it, a really close family member, she wasn't a direct family, we weren't blood related, but we were still really close, and she was diagnosed with it. And so I just thought it would be really cool to actually get an inside perspective of what it was actually like for people who have been with this virus and who are still here and who are now living to fight about it. And so that's why Ricky and Terry, when they reached out to me, they were so sweet. And so I definitely wanted to be a part of it immediately. And so, but what I really wanted to touch on was how I posted a poll on my Instagram, just like the rest of us did throughout this whole internship. But what really got me was I got like around 800 views on this one story. And so I'm posting out through the whole month, and I get views here and there, they fluctuate, but that was the most I've ever seen. And everybody isn't on Instagram that much all the time, so just because I have 2,000 followers doesn't necessarily mean that all 2,000 of them were going to look at the post. So the 800 was actually a lot for me. And so it was actually a question relating to, did we know how to do our own self-breast exams? And so majority of the people who answered were women, of course, but around 70% of those people who responded saying that they didn't know how to do their own self-breast exam. And it was a very small percentage who, actually knew how to do it. But that was really
Say that
interesting.
again, how many out of your 800?
It was about 70%. I don't know the actual number.
Okay, 70%
of
of your 800. Wow.
Yeah, they didn't know how to do, and including me. So through Touch BBCA, they gave me an inside perspective on a lot of things that I did not know. And that's why I'm really grateful, because now I see things a whole different way, relating to breast cancer, and how people are really fighting this thing every day, and how strong the survivors are of breast cancer. So this was a really great internship experience throughout, these past couple months. And I'm really grateful to have met all of my other internship fellows.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Great to have met you too. Okay, Howard, a lot of pressure.
No pressure at all.
Hello, everybody. I have around 1,500 followers, and my why for even applying for this internship is a couple of years ago, my aunt who was living with me was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that was the first time I even experienced someone that close to me dealing with breast cancer, and I didn't know anything about it. I felt so uninformed, and I didn't know how to comfort her, how to be there for her, how to have real conversations. And I didn't like that about myself. And so after that, I started looking more into breast cancer. My mom, we went and got the self-check exam pamphlets, whatever, and we all have it in every one of the room. So it really became a talk. And so I felt like this experience would be a great opportunity to just talk to my peers instead of just keeping this conversation in my family. So these past few weeks, the HBCU intern was fulfilling. Like the amount of interaction that I had with peers on social media was the most I've had since I've started my accounts. And it felt great to have conversations of substance, like importance and actually advocating for our health. And as I continue posting, can you all hear me well? It's like kind of, okay. As I continued posting, more classmates of mine had noticed and the more it traveled. And so I began to see screenshots of my post on other people's Instagram stories. And honestly, it felt good to know like I was actually starting conversation. So one thing that really stuck out to me was when I learned the statistics of young adults being diagnosed with breast cancer. And I remember my freshman year of high school, and this girl that I kind of knew from another school had posted that she had been diagnosed with breast cancer. And she began to document her journey. And I remember the initial shock of everyone in high school, because like we just came from middle school. We just finished learning that our breasts aren't even really developed till like 17. And then to hear this 15-year-old dealing with breast cancer, like we didn't even know that was possible, And although I had witnessed that this disease could occur in youth, I still ignorantly assumed that breast cancer only happened to older women and that this girl I knew was just like a rare occurrence. And I had nothing to worry about. But the statistics that I learned were actually scary. Like approximately 70,000 men and women between the ages of 15 to 39 are cancer yearly, and that more than 1,000 women under the age of 40 died from breast cancer. So my most effective way to reach out to my peers was through polls on Instagram, like we all have said. So after watching the No, You Are Not Too Young for Breast Cancer episode on the Doctor's Inn, I had created a poll asking my peers if they knew someone who was diagnosed with breast cancer under the age of 40. And then I made a follow-up poll asking if it was possible to be under the age of 40 and have breast cancer. And so 62% of my viewers had actually voted no. So after seeing this, I began to make posts detailing just awareness about breast health. And I had made 3 posts talking about breast exams. So my first post, I asked if they even knew how to do one, and 58% of my viewers had admitted that they don't actually even check their breasts. So by the end of the last post, my third one that I posted at the end of October, the percentage of my viewers the monthly exam had exceeded to 55% of them. And that moment was so rewarding because like I just felt like I felt like I had some I feel like I helped them.
You did.
You did.
And because of this, like, I'm just incredibly thankful for all the information that I learned and all the people I spoke to, people at Howard that we didn't speak before, like when we were on campus, but from seeing my posts, we had conversations and we were sending each other posts that we just seen on Instagram, because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So it was just really fulfilling overall, and I'm just blessed. So thank you for it.
And y'all had a lot of stuff going on at Howard for the past month, so
we did.
An impact is pretty amazing, right? Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so that's so great, Lyric. So great. So proud of all of you guys. So I'm going to share my screen and show Jade Bauer's video. She's from Spelman. So pray for me that the technology works.
Hi everyone, my name is Jade Bowers and I'm a sophomore health science pre-med major at Spelman College, and I wish I could be there with you guys today, but as you may know, I'm taking my chemistry final exam right now, so fingers crossed. And I hope this goes well. But today I want to share with you guys a little bit about early detection and some things that I was able to find out over the course of my internship with Touch the Black Breast Cancer Alliance. So one of the most amazing things I was able to find out and hear in one of the stories is when I was in line to vote, my mom took us the first day of early vote here in Texas, and she was like, everyone has to go, everyone has to be present. I was like, okay. So I was in line and I was standing in front of this woman, and she was very sweet, very nice, and we got to chatting because the line was wrapped around the building. And she shared with me that she was a breast cancer survivor. And immediately I was like, oh my gosh, I have to talk to her. I have to have a little interview with her because this is perfect for my internship. And so I got to talking with her, and she shared with me that her doctor said that early detection was one of the most prominent things that played in her story for breast cancer, because they did detect her breast cancer at an earlier stage. But he was saying if they would have detected it even earlier, if she would have been a little bit more proactive and a little bit more aware, her story and her journey wouldn't have to have been as rigorous as it was. And she did end up going through chemotherapy, and she did end up, that was the path that they chose for her journey through breast cancer. But it really just showed me that early detection is real, and that is a serious thing, especially for the women in our community that have been so affected by triple negative breast cancer. And early detection could be the difference between life and death. And it really just, her journey and her sharing this with me really showed me that this is something that we need to bring awareness to. This is something that we need to talk about. We need to have sit down talks with our young women, because they need to know at their early age, and at my young age of 19, that I need to know how to do a self-breast exam, and I need to know my normal, and I need to know exactly how I
Ricky, we lost sound.
she knew more, and she wishes she knew how to do a self breast exam, and she wants to be even more proactive in her journey, because it runs in her family, and she knows that she could be at risk to having breast cancer in her life. And that was honestly a pleasure to me and a blessing that I was able to share with her when she needs to do her self breast exams. And I was able to talk to her about, yes, you're supposed to do it once a month, and give her manuals and guides and how to do a self breast exam, and just being more proactive on her journey. And then on a personal story, my grandmother on my dad's side and one of my aunts on my mom's side both had breast cancer. And for me, I know that it runs in my family as well. And I know that I want to go get my genetics testing done. And I want to go make sure for me and my siblings, because there can be the male gene for breast cancer. And that even stood out to me as well, because I didn't even know that before I entered in this internship with Touch, the Black Breast Cancer Alliance. And it showed me that being aware and knowing your normal and doing your self breast exams and just being always one step ahead can be the difference between life and death. And it's so serious in our community, since the Black women in our community are disproportionately affected by breast cancer. And it's really just showed me the importance of early detection, in that we do need to bring awareness to this. And it has just been a blessing to me to be able to be an advocate for breast cancer on my campus and be able to share these things with you all today has even been such a blessing to me as well. But this is what I wanted to share with you guys today. And I'm so happy for all of my fellow interns. I know you guys are doing amazing. I know you're doing great. So I love you guys, and bye.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So I hope she gets an A on her test. I know she will. She was studying real hard last night. So So wow. Dr. Mo, isn't this amazing?
It's fantastic, and it's fantastic for a couple reasons. One, because it just is, because yay, young Black magic, Black girl magic, Black guy magic, Black human magic. But two, health literacy, like understanding what's going on with our health, it continues to be such a huge problem in our community. And I want to ask you guys, one, why do you think that is? And two, what are some myths that you might have heard or might have thought that you were able to like dispel or change your mind about during this month? So if you can think of any common myths about breast cancer that you maybe had heard before, that you found out wasn't really true. Is there anything like that? And then talk about why there's a lot of misinformation. Why do you think that is?
I can go. So one of the myths that I probably would say is that you don't start getting breast cancer until you're like around the age 40. So that is one of the things that I found out through the internship that are false, because, excuse me, I actually have a friend who is 19 and she just found out that she actually has breast cancer. So finding out information like that and also looking through the Touch BBCA organization's page, I found out facts, and that shows that that's not true at all. You can get it. Breast cancer doesn't have an age number, anything. You can get breast cancer at any age. Oh, why I think there are a lot of misconceptions about breast cancer is because the lack of how it is taught in school. So for example, in health class, in high school, even in college now, the health classes I have, we don't touch on breast cancer at importance. We don't talk about how women should check themselves. We don't talk about that at all during health class. So I feel like without having somebody around them, like around young Black women, around any women of color, they lack information about breast cancer. So I think the lack of talking about it in health is the issue.
I would like to agree just with him saying that my personal experience also made me realize that you don't have to be 40 years old to get breast cancer. And I also thought that I was a lone wolf, a unicorn. I was out there by myself. But realistically, through my journey, I met several of young survivors. And I was like, wow, I'm really not in this by myself. And I feel like the why for that is because we know how some minority families, they don't like to talk about body parts and medical issues because that's always been like a huge stigma within the household. So I feel like if mothers were to educate their daughters a lot more and fathers doing the same thing with their sons about everything, I feel like it would be a lot more comfortable. Because if your parents come to you about it, that means that you're comfortable with it in general. So I feel like if we were more informed within the household, it would be a lot better.
Why don't you think we talk about it, Ari? We don't. You know that I always say we need to put it at the kitchen table. But do you think it's just, I don't know. It's definitely a Black thing. We don't talk about anything. Diabetes, high blood pressure. We just don't put it on the table, and that's so crazy that we're not talking about it until somebody's sick, right?
I feel like it's one of the ideas. I feel like is Black people always feel like they have to be so strong and they can't just steer their way from anything else. So I feel like they never take the time to really take care of themselves, and they feel like they always have to take care of everything else in the world. And I also feel like Black families don't like talking about private parts and body parts and stuff like that. Like Dr. Mo has said plenty of times where people call them cookies or whatever they might call them. But I feel like we need to actually have those real raw conversations, because these are real raw subjects that we need to be having within our community. So I feel like it's all fear-based, and sometimes it gets sexualized, where I feel like we have to steer away from that. Because at this point, like me being a radiation therapist, I thought it was going to be weird seeing all the nude bodies. But at this point, a boob is a boob. And I see them every single day, all day. So I don't even think about it in that manner anymore. Like, oh, it's a body part. Oh my gosh, it's their private parts. I'm like, okay, whip it out. Come on, we got to get this treatment in.
You
So
said something You said something real key, Ari. You said the sexualization of our bodies, right? And that is a huge problem, especially for young Black women as they develop. I find that because our bodies do develop the way they do, one, there's a lot of shame. We're made to feel a lot of shame about our body parts. And two, to avoid that hypersexualization, we don't talk about it, right? Or we give them those cute little names, euphemisms, you know, whatever we call them. But I think that you just said something really, really key that we need to unpack on a future episode. And get into the not only the policing of Black bodies, but the hypersexualization of young Black bodies, and why our children are afraid to touch it, to talk about and to learn about their bodies, because that really is a key to a lot of the things that we do or don't do, and a lot of the myths that we kind of perpetuate. But if anybody else had any of those, any misinformation that you heard that you learned differently, feel free to share, or we can keep talking about too, why family members don't like to talk about these things. So now is your chance to say anything that you, jump in.
Okay. A myth that I always heard was, you know, if you keep a healthy weight, you exercise regularly, you eat healthy, you don't drink alcohol as much, stuff like that, then you don't have to worry about getting breast cancer at all. And that's not always true. That doesn't eliminate it. You being healthy doesn't eliminate your chances of having breast cancer. And I learned that through this internship. I feel like this myth is always stated because even you know, like in health classes and stuff, and then when they speak about diseases and everything, they always say it, you get it if you're healthy, if you drink a lot. They never actually talk about family, you know, it being in your bloodline, the possibilities of how you can actually get it. It's always just, oh, if you keep eating fast food, you're gonna have, you know. And I feel like because of this, people don't do the research, because if in school they're telling you that, well, eating healthy is going to cure you from getting any type of disease, then they're going to believe whatever they're, because our school system, that's a whole different conversation, honestly. But yeah, I'm going to leave it at that, okay?
Wow, I know, you know, Dr. Mo and I were at this conference. She actually spoke at this conference a couple weeks ago that totally upset me, right, Dr. Mo, that this doctor was saying how—
Ooh, you were in rare form, man.
I was so mad.
The comments were flying, and it was something else. This guy sat up here and said, well, you know, the reasons why Black women get breast cancer at such an alarming rate is because they don't breastfeed and because they need to lose weight. And woo, buddy.
Rough. We were on a call with a lot of women with breast cancer, and he was basically saying, you guys are just all fat, you're just fat, and you didn't breastfeed your kids, so that's why you got breast cancer. It was horrible.
I know his audience, and the reality is that
hey, that could play a role in it about not breastfeeding. That plays a role.
Breastfeeding is a considered, so there are preventable and non-preventable risk factors, you know, and the thing to say is not that breastfeeding prevents breast cancer, but it can help to decrease your risk for breast cancer, but it is not the biggest decrease in risk for breast cancer. And he harped on that, and he just kept going. I said, well, wait a minute, we need to take into consideration that the number 1 or 2 reasons for breast cancer, being a woman and getting older, right? God willing, you keep doing both, right? It's not something that you did. For some people, it's hereditary, a small subset of people, but they're at the highest risk. But for other people, we have to balance your risk factors, like smoking, like drinking, like fatty foods, like breastfeeding, like a lot of things. But blaming that on people, you know, and putting that blame, it made people feel ashamed, and it made them feel disempowered, because there were so many women on the call who had breastfed. Yeah. They had children, they breastfed, they exercised, they were vegans, they did all the things, and they still got breast cancer, right? So what are you saying? And how is this helpful? And how does this help us understand why Black women get breast cancer if that's all you blame it on? And the reality is, we know that's not the case. The data shows that when you normalize for everything like health insurance, like access to care, all the stuff that people say are the reasons why Black women get breast cancer more, when you balance those out and normalize for those, we still die more of breast cancer. We still are diagnosed with more aggressive breast cancer.
We still get it younger. We still get it younger.
And so that means that 1, there's potential for biologic differences that need to be explored. But 2, we got to talk to the docs and to the future docs about how we have conversations with Black women about their breast health and about breast cancer, because if something is happening when women get diagnosed, when they present, the relationship between people and their doctors is broken, right? It's broken.
And that typical conversation can prevent people the things that he was saying can prevent people from going in and going to get checked. Those are the fear factors that they put on to people. And that's why a lot of Black women don't go into the doctors, because of that mistrust, that judgment, that relationship with the doctors. So I can't even believe he said anything like that. He needs to be
He needs to
undegreed.
go home. He needs to go home. He needs to go home. He
And these
definitely-
are people, these are the people heading up major agencies for the government. These are the people
Right.
getting the funding for breast cancer research. These
Right.
are the people publishing the papers, teaching the new generations of doctors. And that's why you guys are so important. And so I hope if you got one thing from this internship is that your voice has power. Your activism, your social media presence is great to do the polls and all that stuff, but look how many people you reached in a month, right?
Right.
And it's just, there's so much work that we can do. So I'm on fire for you. I'm so excited for you. But Phil, anybody else can weigh in on why we don't talk about it? What are some myths that you kind of learned that are different, like miseducation? And then I got one more follow-up question for you.
Anybody want to talk? Did you guys talk about it in your families before? I mean, you did, Lyric, because of your aunt, but how about you, Simone? Did you ever really talk about it with your moms or with your grandmas or anybody?
No, I think maybe just because I haven't had anyone in my direct family who's been diagnosed with breast cancer, but I really haven't had the conversation with my family that much. So I kind of wish it was something that we talked about more, because I kind of regret that I didn't know as much information that I've learned in this past month.
Great. How about you, Carrington?
We didn't really talk about it as much, but it wasn't a foreign topic. So it wasn't like Simone said, I didn't really have it in my direct family. So there was really never much of a need to really talk about it. But like I said, we had somebody that was close to us who had it. So we did discuss it at some points, but it was never a foreign topic in my family.
Do you guys ever talk about other diseases? Is it just breast cancer, or is it just health in general that you don't talk about?
I feel like my entire family talks about these situations, just because cancer is pretty prominent in my family. We have a lot of people that have breast cancer, a lot of people that have ovarian cancer, colon cancer, leukemia. So I feel like it was never foreign to me about these conversations, like Carrington was saying, but I feel like they weren't as detailed as they should be. Like, I knew that women had to do breast exams and stuff like that, but all the other risk factors for all the other diseases that are in my family, they were never really talked about. Because, everyone always thinks that cancer is just breast cancer, but you literally can get cancer in your eyeball. You could get cancer. I've treated someone that had cancer in their nasal vestibule right here, this small little piece. Like, I'm treating someone that has cancer on his forehead. Like, you could literally get it anywhere. So I feel like majority of the risk factors for most cancers are similar. So if we were able to spread those and categorize them and say, oh, this could lead to this, this, and this cancer, I feel like that would have been a better approach for me, myself personally.
Wow.
Anybody else about other health things that you talk about?
Sorry, what were you
I
gonna
was
say,
gonna
Carrington?
I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna say that now we didn't just talk about breast cancer in my family. My father 2 years ago, he passed away from colon cancer. And so as soon as that happened, that started a whole new conversation in my family, because there was never really prior history of it in our family. So it kind of just came out of nowhere. And he was only in his early 40s, so he was still pretty young. So everybody was kind of wondering, okay, how did this happen at such a young age? So when he was going through that, that started a conversation within my family. And me and I have another sister, so that includes things for us, having to get checks for certain things. So yes, we in my family, we very close. So talking about certain things that we know need to be talked about, that's what makes us close, because we get through the tough stuff by having those tough conversations.
And going kind of off what Carrington said, another myth that I've always heard is like, if there's no family history of this disease, you won't get it. And unfortunately, so many generations are brought up on this thing that if you don't know anyone in your family who has gotten this disease, then there's nothing you need to worry about. And I wish that I wish that wasn't so heavily like told to, because it really brings ignorance. And I'm hoping, and with my aunt, getting breast cancer, that's what had to start the conversation. And I hate that her having it had to start our conversations. I feel like even though we didn't have experience prior to her being diagnosed, I wish it would have been more comfortable to talk about.
Wow.
Adding on to what Lyric said, that definitely is a valid point. A lot of people are like, my mom didn't have it. No women in my family have it, so that I won't get it. Like no one's immune to it. Like no one is like.
You're in your dorm.
People in the hallway are loud.
That's okay. It's okay. You're in your dorm.
Sorry. So yeah, a lot of people think
Okay.
that they're immune to it, and I just want like learning through touch is no one's immune to it. Anyone can happen, and it also can happen at any age. So that's another misconception that it doesn't run in my family. So I won't get it. That's not the case at all.
Did you guys hear the one that says if it's on dad's side, or that your dad's side of the family history doesn't matter? You heard
No,
that?
I didn't hear that one. I didn't hear that one.
Yeah.
A lot of women come to see me and they only give the maternal side. And my mom's side was this, and this. And what about dad's side? Oh, that doesn't matter. My doctor told me it doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. Yes,
And
it
it definitely matters because I get all of my gene mutations from my dad's side. And that's not even my Black side. That's my white and Hispanic side. And I've had, my grandma had breast cancer. My grandma's, both of my grandma's sisters both passed away from ovarian cancer. My grandpa on my dad's side passed away from, so majority of my family cancer history is on my dad's side. So I definitely would attest to that one.
Yeah, well, we talked to Matthew Knowles last month, and he said the same thing with the BRCA2 mutation, right?
Right.
So we know that it can definitely be passed down from men. And the tricky thing about that is that if a man has a mutation in the gene, only up to 8% of men with a BRCA mutation would get breast cancer, which means that more than 92% of men won't get breast cancer if they have that mutation, and they don't have ovaries. So they're not going to get ovarian cancer either.
Right.
So that means they are walking around with this mutation silently, potentially passing it to their daughters. They might get prostate cancer. Risk is up to 20%, but that means 80% chance they might not get prostate cancer. So now we have a whole group of men with this family history, with this mutation. They pass it to their daughters and they never know because nobody ever tested them or talked to them about their family history. So Tyre, that's why it's so important that you are here and that you're repping for the fellas and that everybody is, and educating men, because when it runs in your family for them, even if it runs in their family on their mom's side, they could get it from their mom. Girls could get it from their dad.
Right.
And so it's so important to know both sides.
Yeah.
And that's where my dad falls into that category because he has the BRCA gene mutation. His mom had breast cancer and his dad had colon cancer. So I always tell him to make sure you're doing your screening because you do have a gene mutation and you have a high, and your daughter has breast cancer or had breast cancer. So I always tell him to make sure that he's informed and paying attention to his body.
That brings up a good point. Sorry, go ahead, Ricky.
As I said, the other side of that is that really only about 5 to 10% of breast cancers are hereditary. To your point, Lyric, that if you don't, because I hear a lot of women say, well, my mom doesn't have it, so I'm okay, but you're not. That is not the case. That is not the case at all, that you need to get checked no matter what, that you still can get breast cancer even if you don't have a history. And most women do get it without a history. So it's really important to know that and check your breast.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely is. So since we're talking about this and families and what runs in families, I guess my question for you guys, my last question is, how would you start the conversation, right? So if you had a loved one who you found out had breast cancer, but they didn't want to talk to their other loved ones, or if you had a friend who had a lump and they were diagnosed, and how would you now, knowing what you know, help other people start to have these conversations with their families? Like, what do you say?
I would probably start out by saying, I know it's a hard conversation to have, but it needs to be doable. Like, we can't just keep going through these journeys by ourselves and trying to handle everything by ourselves. Like, that's the reason why we have family and why we need to be family informed. Because what if it would pass down to another member in your family? Wouldn't you have a guilty conscience that you weren't there to be able to console in them? So I would start it out as that.
How about you, Simone? Put your
Is
own-
going off of what Ari said, kind of the same thing, like just make sure to tell them that just having more information would be better off to have you be more prepared and just to know like what you can do before it's too late. And I feel like just having a conversation, even if it's scary or awkward, it'd be better than not having it at all, and just letting your family members go through that if you could have at least brought some kind of awareness about it.
Yeah. How about
Um,
you?
oh.
Go ahead.
For me personally, the first thing I would say is like, you're strong. I think that mindset that people that like when you're diagnosed, you're seen as weak. You're seen as you're not as strong as you once were. I think that prevents people from wanting to even talk. And so for me personally, that would be the first thing I say is you're still strong. You're stronger now because you're fighting this and you're still living. You know. I would also like about witnessing my aunt and how weak she got. It was hard to watch, and I would want to like I wish then I told her how like she was still beautiful, you know. I think that all these stereotypes and you see you're losing hair and everything, you want to hide and you're no longer, you feel like you're not as strong as everybody once seen you were. And so that would be something I would just tell people. Yeah.
Great. Do you think that you guys had a different conversation after your aunt got sick, even versus what you know now? Do you think her being sick created more of a conversation with your family, or no?
Yes, definitely. I'm sorry.
It's okay, babe. It's okay.
Like my aunt, she's a backbone or whatever, and I think no one expected it. No one expected to see her. No one thought that she would have to deal with that. It just made life more of a reality for everybody. You know, for my entire family, that it's possible. You know, unfortunately, I feel like my family was ignorant to disease, breast cancer, and just having that personal connection to it made everyone want to check their bodies. You know, it made everyone be advocates to their friends, coworkers, anyone. So, yeah.
Oh, Lyric, you almost got me ready to cry because that's how I feel about my sisters. I mean, I come from an all family with all sisters. So my mom had all girls. I have a sister on my dad's side too. And I felt like they never expected it to be me. So I'm always like the hardworking one like they know how much work I put in and everything like that. So they didn't expect me to get such devastating news. And so now I feel like I've informed my sisters a whole lot more to be a lot aware. So I feel that.
Wow.
You did. You are. You're a living testimony. You're a living testimony. You're a living testimony. So you guys, you did some really amazing things. You helped a lot of people. And I want to kind of add up all the numbers, you know, so I'll email you tomorrow to kind of figure out how many people we really touched. But
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What comes next? What are we doing next?
That's where I was going. That's where I was going.
I know you were going there. I had to do it. I'm like, what are we doing next? Because it can't be over, right? It can't be over.
I know. All right. Thanks for getting in the light, Ari. We can see you beautiful.
There we go. So round robin, Lyric, Tyre, Simone, Carrington, what comes next for you guys in November or after finals or in December or in January, whatever month you pick, what we going to do? What us gonna do?
They are all in finals now, close to finals. They're working their butts off, poor little thing. So it's time. So what's next?
Doesn't stop here for me. Obviously, you know, we've built a special connection, within this month or so. And so, this isn't going to be the end for this. I'm still going to repost everything that touched BBC there, because my whole thing this internship was the more that you learn, the more that you can teach other people. And so I've been gaining a whole lot of information, and I've been able to get out a whole bunch more information. So that's my thing. So this is not it for me. I'm still gonna keep doing what I've been doing, like nothing happened.
I love
Great.
it.
For me, what comes next? So I just want to talk about how a lot of people at my school, Bowie has a very rigorous nursing program. So there's 310 pre-nursing people, and they only accept 24 people. 24 students, and they don't tell you this before you get here. So now that I've got here and I've learned this information, I love my HBCU, so I don't want to transfer. So what's next for me is I'm gonna buckle down. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to be number one out of them 24 to get accepted into the program. I'm gonna speak it into existence. So I apply next fall, and I find out if I get accepted by the end of the semester. So I'm definitely gonna be getting back to you guys with that. And also what they did here was they messed up a lot of people's schedules. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case for me, but a lot of these people, they don't have the sciences they need and they're behind. So they're forced to take summer and winter classes. Yeah, they messed up bad here for nursing students. So next semester, I'm forced to take 4 sciences at once. So I'm about to buckle down, get to work. And 2024, BSN RN is going to be next to my name.
You got it. You got that.
I'll bring you
Right.
some food. He's close
Right
to me.
to
I'll bring you
letter.
some food so you can eat while you're studying, okay?
I'll write you a letter.
Don't
recommending.
forget that I'm the first one to graduate out of the group. So
I got
let's
you. I
keep
got
that in
you.
mind.
I got you. Simone?
I've just learned so much this past month, and so I don't want to just stop here. I still want to keep reposting information and just finding out more stats and everything that I can share, and just keep talking to like my friends and family, and just continuing like as if the internship is still going on, because I just think this is really important, and I don't want to just stop with the information that I've learned. I want to just keep going.
Great. Great.
Yeah, basically what everyone else is saying, like the talk needs to continue. I feel like for me, a lot of people, I don't want people to think, it was just in October because of, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. No, it's November, December, January, on and on and on. And I will, like everyone said, continue to post what HBCA post. And I'm really hoping that we're allowed back on campus or something. Because I loved how Tyre was able to have his little thing in the dorm and everything. If I was on campus, okay, I would have had that too. I would have had a whole little, I would have been in the cab passing out things, So I'm hoping when we are allowed back on campus to continue to spread awareness.
Great. Well, you guys, Immunomedics has been our supporter all along and kind of helped make this program happen. And we're so thankful to them. We're so thankful to Jeanette, who you guys met, and Jenny. And they've been a really, really great partner for Touch the Black Breast Cancer Alliance. And I think going into this, we really had no idea what would happen. And you guys have made us so proud, and we feel so great about it. And Immunomedics is like, bring it. Let's do some more. Let's keep it going. Let's bring some more interns. Let's go to more schools. And so you guys have helped me to help other people. So, they're going to be so great to work with and continue this work and continue and bring it and make it bigger and broader and more people and more kids and more campuses and get the word out and save the world. Let's all save the world, save the boobs. So thank you so much, you guys.
I love it.
A joy. And
how can people reach you? Can we put it in the chat? I know we have to log off for Black Doctor, but I want other people to be able to follow you and you to follow each other. And so do we have some quick Instagrams we can do around Robin real quick?
Yeah, so my Instagram name is y0.mcm_. Again, that's y0.mcm_.
So we'll go put them in the Black Doctor comments when we're done. Okay, we'll put everybody. So, but go ahead, Carrington. Who are you?
Mine is very simple. It's just my name and then the first letter of my last name. So it's Carrington F.
Ari?
I know I'm an old lady, so mine says Mama Ari. MOMMA_ARII. Mama Ari.
Simone?
Mine is pretty simple also. It's just my name. So Simone Tezo.
And Lyric?
And mine is Lyrica Moore. That's Instagram, Twitter, everything. LYRICAMORE.
I'll go put everybody's on Instagram, and Jade's, we'll put hers on there too, so you guys can, they can reach out to you, but
Yep.
you
And I'll
guys
put
are my
Dr. Monique,
joy.
Gary,
I love you.
Hall, social media, Ricky
Yeah.
Fairley.
Yeah, Ricky Fairley, Touch BBCA, at Touch BBCA, at Ricky Dove. But I love you guys so much. I've learned so much from you, and I thank you so much. And let's keep it going and stay healthy and stay safe. And I want all A's on your final. I've been telling you that since I met you, and we got to get straight A's, do the work, and make us all proud.
I'm looking forward to doing some one-on-one, some Instagram, some lives with you guys. Keep the party going. Let me know how I can support you. For those people who are watching, we hope that this has been relatable, reliable, and real. That is what we set out to do every single Wednesday night on The Doctor Is In. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next Wednesday.
See you next
Rest in love, right?
Yeah, Rusty Love. We're actually going to celebrate our veterans next Wednesday, Dr. Mo.
All right, fantastic. Yes, because we want to thank each one for their service. So thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Rusty Love. Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.